Do you want to know how to stay connected to your teen and still set boundaries? It is possible. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about connection and boundaries. In this video, we're going to talk about the tension that can exist in a parent-child relationship, especially during the teen years, and can lead to disconnection. This tension can be caused by boundaries. First, that will be our discussion. Then we'll move on to what you can do about it so that you can maintain boundaries and make sure that your connection is strong. Many people think that in order to establish a connection with their teen, that they have to relinquish their parental authority. Nothing could be further from the truth. Your disconnection from your teen will actually increase if you relinquish your parental authority by just agreeing with them or affirming them. Teens, even teens who are growing up and getting older, still rely on that secure foundation that a parent provides by maintaining their morals, principles, skills, values, that they are maintaining that strength and that support for the child, which includes corrections, teaching, and so forth. Now, is it true that as a teen gets older, that we might need to give them a little bit more responsibility than we once did and let them suffer a little bit of the natural consequences where before we were using synthetic consequences in order to do quick teaching? The answer to that is yes, but we first have to do all of that training, teaching, and reforming in order to prepare them to launch into having more responsibility. No matter the age of your teen, you need to go through the steps of reforming them and helping them learn the skills and principles that they need before giving them increased responsibility. This was something that I learned when I took troubled teens into my home who were all between the ages of 12 and 18. For many years, I was a therapeutic treatment care parent for foster children for troubled teens. I've also raised my 4 children all the way to adulthood. When a parent stops maintaining the foundation of their parental authority and maintaining that structure for their teen, that impacts their connection in negative ways. So the teen starts to go off alone, which might seem like it's a natural progression into adulthood, but if they don't have a proper connection during those teen years, they will struggle when they reach adulthood. They will maybe think that the parents don't actually need to have an interest or any type of relationship with them as they move forward. This actually disables them when it comes to solving problems because their prefrontal cortexes, which is the front part of the brain, is not fully developed until they're in their mid-20s. They still need somebody to bounce ideas off of, someone who cares, someone who's been there, someone who's not going to point them toward failure. I know that we all want connection with our children, but sometimes we do need to set up some boundaries. And no answers are just really simple boundaries that parents always set for their children. So hopefully you've taught your children the 4 basic skills of self-government. One of those skills, those vital skills, is being able to accept no answer, which means to observe a boundary. So maybe a boundary is you don't take the car without asking, or maybe a boundary is something like you don't walk into somebody else's room without knocking, or maybe a boundary is you don't become sexual with people before marriage, or whatever types of things in your family you feel like are important boundaries to teach your children. Maybe you are wondering if you set that boundary, if they will hate you or pull away from you. They could not like it at first, but in the end, it brings them security. Even if they ultimately don't end up agreeing with you, it brings them security to know that you do have a boundary and that you're willing to follow through with that boundary. So a little bit more about boundaries. There's a lot of talk about boundaries on YouTube and everywhere online. People are chiming in on who should set boundaries, how they should set boundaries, who should honor the boundaries. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people who are preaching about boundaries don't actually understand their own boundaries. They're assuming that if they set a boundary, that means that they should be able to have complete control over somebody else. Life does not work that way, ever. When you set a boundary, you're more setting it for yourself. You're saying, okay, well, this is what I will not do. This is what I will not say. Now, when you're training a child, you're also going to say, okay, well, this is a line that you can't cross, otherwise there will be a negative consequence. But it's not really about controlling the other person. Nowadays, if people are crossing over boundary lines, other people are assuming that there's this huge lack of respect or that the relationship is terrible, and they're jumping to conclusions. Children always cross boundary lines, and we always have to teach them how to honor the boundaries, see the boundaries, and learn how to follow through with those boundaries. That is part of growing up. When you're talking about boundaries and you're thinking about boundaries, I hope that you're not thinking that you should be able to have control over certain boundaries with your child, because they're going to make decisions that don't please you. And then what's your boundary line when they make a decision that means that you need to do a correction? Are you going to be able to accept the no answer yourself and say, well, okay, they crossed over a line and I need to do some teaching. I need to be able to be calm and do that. Or are you going to take it personal, feel controlling, and start attacking? Because if you do that, it's not going to help your relationship. Your calmness is the number one thing that can help your relationship, help you be able to establish healthy boundaries, but also be able to maintain a connection. The whole teaching self-government parenting approach is designed to help create strong, united relationships while teaching people the boundaries and skills that they need in order to grow into very mature, responsible adults who take the opportunity to practice self-government or self-control over themselves instead of just pushing their power on everybody else. This means that our children need to learn to take responsibility, which means we need to do consistent teaching and consistent corrections. And you can do that with the teaching self-government skills. So how do you set up this program? I can't go into every single detail that I would talk about in my whole course, because that's like 24 hours of training and coaching that you get to learn the whole program. But I can tell you a few things. And that is that first you want to start with a vision. You want to say, what type of a relationship do we want to have? What do we want our roles to be like? This book here, Roles, The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, is a great book to read to help you have a really healthy conversation with your child about who you are, where you're going, and what you want to accomplish in your relationship. Next, you want to talk about how you're going to communicate so that you can measure or quantify if you're actually living according to your roles and your vision or plan for the relationship. You've got to be able to check up on yourself and course correct if necessary in order to be self-governing in your relationships. So what types of skills do you need? That's where the teaching self-government skills come in. There's 4 basic skills. There are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. There are also 5 teaching styles that parents can use to teach and instruct their children to lead them toward increased success. And there are problem-solving exercises, meetings where you can get on the same page with each other and help them learn to goal set and prepare themselves for adulthood. And there's so much more, especially things related to calmness. If the family is not calm when they're doing this teaching, they actually will struggle to be successful in their parent-child relationship. Connection is possible. It just requires maturity. And how do we mature? By having experiences and learning new skills. Sometimes we just expect maturity to happen without doing the teaching that's required. This channel and my website will help you learn more things to help your children mature in their self-government skills and abilities. The next thing I suggest you do is to take my Calm Parenting Toolkit mini course. It is a small course with 10 tools for calmness that will help you and your child learn the words that you need to solve your problems with calmness. And hopefully will help them see that they can trust you so that they can better establish a connection. Trust and connection can take time, but I know that you can get there. I've seen it happen in family after family. They start out with disconnection, they learn skills, they hold themselves accountable, they deliberately plan, consistently follow through, and suddenly things change for them for the better. Don't question whether the person can mature. They will mature over time, but it's just how they mature that matters, and you can help them with that by teaching them the skills they need for success. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com for the Calm Parenting Toolkit today. I'll see you there.